All right, folks, can you let me know if you are able to see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up from the chat if everybody is able to see my screen? You should be seeing the Dashtoon Studio homepage. All right, that's awesome. And I hope everybody can hear me clearly as well. So give me a thumbs up for that. And we're not going to wait any further. We are going to jump right in. All right, you can hear me, you can see me. Let's do this. Let's go. And first of all, thank you so much, everybody, for making it to this webinar. We are really, really excited to present this new version of Dashtoon Studio to all of you. And this is incredibly exciting because we have been working on this for a really, really long time. And we're going to introduce a huge new buffet of features, right? That is going to help you with everything from converting your story into a comic to finer adjustments to a whole new interface that is more intuitive, and so on. So buckle up, and without waiting any further, let's get started. So the very first thing that we're going to do is get started by clicking on Create New Dashtoon. So most of you are familiar with this. And what you see here is, well, slightly different from what we had earlier, right? You can see that I've got my entire page divided into three sections. We've got story, screenplay, and editor. And we have now started from the story section, all right? So the easiest thing to do here is, if you have a story, just write your story here or paste your story here. All right. We've also got a feature to create a story from a text prompt. So in case you just want to try things out, you want to start by creating just a short comic, you can always write a really short prompt of 100 characters and we will create a story for you. All right. But for today, I already have a story prepared, and that's the one that I'm going to be using. So give me a moment. I'm going to paste a story, and it's a really nice, sweet, short, and simple one. All right. And what the story is about is we have a couple, Sophia and Bruce, who are walking through a mall. And, Bruce suddenly stops in front of a jewelry store, and he tells Sophia that maybe one day you will wear something from here. Right. And then, of course, she's fairly upset, and she says, "What do you mean? Why not today?" Right? She's upset because he's not going to buy her anything from there, and he's teasing her. And she walks away, and then he tries to console her, but soon enough they reach a cafe in the mall, and they sit at a table, and she finds her favorite flowers there and a small velvet box, and finally Bruce opens the box, and there's a ring in there, and he says that I was trying to give you a clue, but I'm sorry for that. And then he asks her to marry him, and she says yes. So it's a short, sweet, simple story, and I've just entered this story here. You can, of course, use a much longer story. You can go up to 3,000 words in your story, okay? Which is a lot. 3,000 words is like an entire chapter of a webtoon or a comic. So you can go up to 3,000 words. And I'm just going to enter the story here, and I'm going to say create Dashtoon. All right. Now, what you get is a style selection interface. So this has been completely revamped as well. You can click ahead and simply cycle through the styles. All right. We've got some really cool styles, some new styles as well. And I'm going to settle with Anime Forge, which is our default anime style. It's really, really good, guys. If you want something that's a little more 3D-ish, like almost like an oil painting, I would strongly recommend Euler. But for now, for this comic, we are going to go with Anime Forge. So I'm going to say next. And what's happening now is that Dashtoon Studio is extracting characters from my story. All right. So my story had two characters, Bruce and Sophia. It is extracting those characters, and it has now assigned a character from Dashtoon's character library to Bruce, and another character from our library to Sophia. Now, as some of you may know, these characters are the consistent characters that Dashtoon offers from its library out of the box. All right. I have full control over all of these characters, full flexibility, and I can, in fact, even go ahead and select a different character. So instead of this guy, say I want him. All right. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to say done. Of course, we have a lot of filters and stuff here. I'm going to select this cool looking dude, and I'm going to say done. Right. And say I want to change Sophia as well. I can go ahead and do that as well. So let's change Sophia into, let's say, this one. All right. Now, we also have the concept of aliases, which is super, super important. Now, in your story, sometimes the same character may be referred to by different names, right? So let's say her name is Sophia Bennett, all right? So you may, in the story, refer to her as Sophia. You may refer to her as, Sophie or Sophia Bennett, let's say, right? So all of these, all the alternative names for your character, you can put them under aliases, right? A lot of times, Dashtoon Studio will automatically pick up aliases as much as possible. It will understand that, okay, you know what? The story refers to Sophie and Sophia, but they are actually both the same character. It's very, very good at that. So it will pick it up. But in case it doesn't, you can add that here as well. Okay. And this is really important to do because this is going to impact us in the next step, where based on these characters, we're actually going to generate our images. So I'm going to say done. This story has only 2 characters, but if you want to add more, let's say there was a character in your story that was not detected automatically, you can always go to new character and you can add any character, right? You can add that, you can add this character, you can change her name and so on. So I'm not going to do that right now. So I've just got 2 characters, Bruce and Sophia. I've made modifications, and now I will just say next. All right, so what's happening now? This is a new mode that we've introduced. It's called the Screenplay mode. And in the Screenplay mode, what happens is that your entire story is broken down into comic panels. All right. Most of the tiles are collapsed by default, but I'm going to expand all of them. Okay. So as you can see, we've got panel 1. Sophia and Bruce are walking hand in hand through a bustling mall. They're surrounded by various shops and people. It's detected the location. It's detected the time of the day, what camera angle it has to be, what shot it needs to be. And it's detected both of the characters. Okay. It says that Sophia needs to be wearing, light blue floral sundress, knee-length spaghetti straps, white sandals, whereas Bruce needs to be wearing navy blue polo shirt, khaki pants, brown loafers. All right. And it's going to give you, for each character, their action, their dress, and their expression. And as you can see, this is happening one by one for all of the panels, like the entire story, right? And you get to see the panels as and when they appear. So we're at panel 17 now, and it is still generating panels one after the other, all right? So you can start editing these once everything is ready. So it's going to take a while. You can wait on it, and once all of it is ready, you can immediately start, editing all of these panels. Okay, so we'll give it a minute while it generates all of the panels, and then we'll wait for it to start generating the images. So as soon as the panels are ready, it is going to kick off the image generation as well. There you go. And as the images are generating, we can start editing these. We generate the images in parallel just so that you don't have to go and edit or approve each and every one. You can just look at an image and edit the one that feels wrong to you. Okay. So you can see here that it is doing it step by step. So you'll see that it says, you can see some 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, and so on. All right. So what are all these steps? You can see that, first is looking like a kind of like a realistic image, and then it's actually changing all of it. So what's happening here is that we're doing this in steps, right? So in this panel, let's take this panel. In this panel, we've got 2 characters. Okay. So what we do is the first image that's generated defines the composition, meaning that it says this is where the girl should be, this is where the boy should be, so on and on. The second step, you can see that maybe in some of these, right? The second step, it says, stylizing the image. So stylizing the image means that it is actually adding this anime style to the image. So first it gets the composition right, then it gets the style right. And once it gets the style right, it starts adding characters. All right. So now it's going to add the characters one by one. So here we have 2 characters, and that's why it is going to add character 1. So when we just click on this one, it will scroll down to, the relevant panel. We have 2 characters here. So now it's adding the first character, Sophie. Next, it's going to add the second character, Bruce. All right. And you can just scroll ahead and see that. Okay, so in this one, you can see that, the blonde character, Sophia, it's already added her. All right. And now it's adding the final character, which is Bruce. And if we go up here to the top, all right, I think you'll be able to see that this is completely ready. So it has added, in fact, both the characters, right? So you can see that we've got a man, Bruce. Okay, he's got his hair and his beard and all of that. And we've got Sophia. She's wearing light blue floral sundress. It's knee length. It's got the spaghetti straps, and she's wearing white sandals. All right. So we've got that. That's pretty cool, right? I didn't have to do anything other than just paste my story. So far, I have not made any changes so far. Okay. And it's already, done this much. Okay. So that's actually pretty cool, right? But there's more. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the initial comic to get ready. And then we're going to go into making edits on this. All right, let's go. So our generation is pretty much done at this point, right? You can see that it's also added a cool, like a background, kind of like a gradient to the entire scene, which is great. It's not the same color everywhere, but it's added something. Okay, so let's start making edits to this. Now, there are a bunch of edits that I can make right here. Okay. So let's say I want to add something here that says, okay, this actually seems fine. So does this. Okay, so I want to add a panel in the middle that says the entrance of a jewelry store in a mall. Glass cases showing diamond rings and necklaces. Okay, so I'm just going to add this, and I'm going to write this here. This is as good as like an image generation prompt, right? I'm going to add. This is a feature that we call generative add, and what has happened here is essentially the AI understands that, okay, this is the prompt that's been injected. It's been injected between these 2 panels. Okay, so it will automatically say, Sophia and Bruce stop at the entrance of a jewelry store. The store's glass showcases display sparkling diamond rings and necklaces. And then Sophia is standing, holding Bruce's hand, looking at the showcases. Bruce is standing, holding Sophia's hand, looking at the showcases. And it's kept everybody's dresses consistent. It's just picked them up from here, and it has still kept the dresses consistent. So it really understands context, and it will, in fact, create stories and create panels, keeping the context of the story in mind, which is really great because it's filled up so much information for me, including dialogues, but I've not had to do anything other than just type a simple prompt. All right. And as you can see, it's also going to add both the characters in this entire interface. All right, which is really, really cool. Without me having to lift a finger, essentially. All right. And I think I can confidently say that this is probably the only multi-character AI image generator in the market right now. I don't think you go anywhere, even if you go to, say, Comfy UI, or you're running your own, version of Stable Diffusion, or you go to Midjourney or Ideogram or DALL-E, you can't generate two characters at once without having to lift a finger, right? So I think Dashtoon Studio is the only one that's really made it possible to generate multiple characters, scenes with multiple characters, without really having to do absolutely anything. Okay, there you go. So now it's added both these guys, all right, and it has in fact added it in the middle. It has changed the gradient, and so on. It's not perfect, sure. He's supposed to be wearing a navy blue shirt, which we're going to do in just a moment. He's wearing a khaki shirt instead, but I'm going to show you how to make minor edits like that. Like 95% of your work is done here. Okay. So we saw generative add. What we can also do is change, let's say, we want to make this a close-up, right, of just Bruce saying something. So what we'll do is we'll delete this. Okay, we're going to change this because they already arrived in front of the jewelry store. And we're going to say close-up of Bruce's face, smirking. That's about it, right? And daytime, camera angle, eye level, camera shot is close up, right? Actually, we want it really zoomed in on his face. So we're going to say ultra close up shot, all right? And his action is, we're going to leave it blank because it's a super close up, right? And we're going to say smirking. And we can get rid of all of this. We're just going to say navy blue polo shirt. That's about it. And I want to leave the dialogue as it is. No change there. Okay. So I made all these changes. And now I need to regenerate this panel. Okay. Okay. All right. Really important. It has asked me if I wish to update my character description in all my panels. So I updated my character's dress, right? Now we need to maintain consistency. So now Dashtoon Studio is asking me that, hey, you changed the character's dress in one panel. Do you want to do this across all the panels? And I'm saying no. I'm going to say no. I don't want to do it because I want him wearing, what is that? Navy blue polo shirt, khaki pants, brown loafers, all of that. I want him to be wearing that across all the other panels. But in just this one, I want a close-up. And so I will just write navy blue polo shirt. All right. Now what I need to do is regenerate this panel. Okay. So I'll introduce the concept of credits. All right. We have a concept of credits here in the sense that every single image generation on Dashtoon Studio costs credits, right? So the formula is simple. It's one image, one credit. All right. So we've got 3 images here. Why 3? Because the first one for the composition, the second one for the style, the third one for the character. Okay. So regenerating this panel is going to cost me 3 credits. All right. And of course, the credits were deducted for all of these that I have created so far. And in front of each panel, you would be able to see that, okay, these were how many credits that the panel costs. If I don't make any changes, I just try to regenerate this panel, it's going to cost me 4 credits. And it did cost me 4 credits the first time it was created too. Okay, so my total credit count is here. We'll get into, credit utilization and things like that. You can also look at how many credits you've used a day and so on. But for now, this is telling me that this is going to cost me 3 credits to regenerate, and I'm going to say yes. All right, and it's going to let me do that too. All right, so it's going to follow the similar workflow where it generates the scene, it adds the style, it adds the character, and it's going to generate all of those here. Okay. Another really cool feature is that we have introduced comments here. Okay, so if you want to write a comment for this saying that, say this panel needs better coloring or whatever, you can just do that. Very easy, right? And that comment will get tagged. So it'll show you that there's one comment here, and when you click on that, you will get to see this comment tagged to this panel, right? This is really useful if you're collaborating with someone on a Dashtoon, all right? So you've got the, add teammates. So you can just enter somebody's email ID here, hit enter, and it will invite that person as a teammate, right? So I can just enter an email ID here. So let's say I'm going to enter my email, and yeah, there you go. So I'm still the owner, and I've invited my other email address. It could be your friend as a fellow creator, and I can assign them a role, right? But by default, it assigns a creator role, which should really work for you. Okay, and that means that now you and your friend both have access to these comments. You can comment on it. You can discuss stuff and just collaboratively create essentially. Okay, we've come this far. We've got an initial comic, but we're not too happy. There's a lot of changes we still want to make to this. Okay, so let's go to the editor. All right, now a lot of you may already be familiar with the infinite canvas, but you will notice that a lot has changed, right? So what's changed? Well, the toolbar has moved to the left. We have gotten rid of the older tabs that we had over here, which were, I think generate, edit, and so on, which was a little confusing. And we've made it much, much cleaner. So now you have something really convenient called generation modes that really tells you exactly what you can do here. So text to image, in paint, storyboard to comic, live, image to image, and edge to comic. These are the modes. These are the generation modes that we've got. And as we figure out how to edit this comic, we're going to explore all of these modes. Okay. So let's start with this one. All right. So these guys are walking through a mall. Great. This image looks fine to me. Probably I would want more definition in his face and in her face as well, right? So what do I do? Now, we've got one very powerful tool that's called Inpaint, which is the one we're going to use to make majority of our edits, okay? So what is Inpaint? Inpaint is essentially selectively changing parts of your image, okay? So the moment I said Inpaint, my mask tool is selected. And that is because if I want to edit this region, I need to draw a mask around it. All right. I can also edit Sophia's face, but that needs a new mask. So I will go to new selection and I will put a mask around Sophia's face. Okay. Now, in mask 1, I am going to select Bruce. All right. So it will give me Bruce with some description over here. And I'm going to say smiling. And I can change this. So what is this? This is something called change percentage. Now this determines how much the underlying image will change. All right. Here I'm going to set it to 50%. That should work for me because I've already got most of my character's features, right? I just need a little more clarity. I need to sharpen his eyes and do all that. So anything between 50 to 60 should be fine. All right. So let's say maybe you can keep it at 55, right? Or whatever. Even the default value of 50 should be fine. 51. Cool. I'm going to do the same thing with Sophia. So I'm just going to say Sophia. Okay, this metadata is slightly wrong. We'll get rid of older woman and we'll say just smiling. All right. I'm going to keep that 50%. Okay. I'm not going to use the retain composition feature immediately right now. We're going to come to that. But for now, let's just hit generate. And this will tell you that this is going to cost me 2 credits because I'm doing 2 image generations. Okay. Again, the only AI generator that lets you generate multiple characters or multiple characters within the same image in the same workflow, right? So we're going to wait for this to get generated. So you'll see a generating bar over here. It said generating 2 batches. Our first one got generated, okay? And you can see that was Bruce. So you can see a lot more clarity and definition on Bruce's face here now, right? Compared to the earlier one. Sophia is still generating, so let's wait for that. Awesome. So 2 out of 2 done. And we've got a lot more clarity on both Sophia's face and Bruce's face. So you can see this is the first image where we just got Bruce. This is the second image where we got Sophia. So we're going to say accept. And if you want to compare both of them, or if you want to see your past generations, you can just go to your history. Okay, and you will literally see all of these. So you can click on, say, your eye icon, and you will also be able to see the prompt that you had used to generate this, along with any setting that you used to generate this, right? So this was the Sophia in Paint, 50% on character Sophia. This was, I used 51% here, character used Bruce. And these were my previous iterations. I remember we started with this. The prompt was automatically created for you. We added a style here that was automatically done. We automatically added character 1 here. In this case, Sophia would add it first, right? And we automatically added character 2, which was Bruce. So until here, it was all just automatically done for you. And this, we did an enhancement on our own. This is another enhancement we did on our own, okay? So you get this in image info, you get all of it in your history. You can also download from here. You can favorite images from here, right? So that's always useful. And so on. Cool. What's next? Let's move on. Okay, so we come to this and we can see that, very clearly his shirt is of the wrong color. He's supposed to be wearing a navy blue shirt, right? So how do I change that? Again, we want to change. So we go to Inpaint, all right? But now, instead of just changing his shirt, I want to be sure that I get a navy blue shirt, right? I don't want to leave it up to chance. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. There are 2 approaches. I'm going to show you both. The first is when we... let me actually copy this image. Okay, Control-C, Control-V, and then we will move this image out. And we're going to do one operation here, which is where I take my mask. I can increase or decrease the size using the 9 or 0 shortcuts. All right, and we're going to paint a mask over this guy. Just the top half of his body, honestly, because that's the only place where I want to change the shirt. And now I want a large amount of change over here, right? So I'm going to change my percentage to 100 because I don't want the beige or khaki shirt. I want a blue shirt. And I'm going to say Bruce because I also want to enhance his face, wearing a navy blue shirt. Okay. Now I'm going to do something called retain composition where, I want this to change but I want the overall composition of the image to remain the same, right? I still want him looking sideways. I still want the back angle shot, all of that. So I'm going to retain this composition by say 25%. I don't need to do like 100 because I still do want some change, right? I don't want to retain, every single tiny line over there. That would just give you a not so good image. But anywhere between 25 to 50%, you are usually good. Okay. So I'm going to say generate here. Now, while that's going on, I'm going to also try doing this with a different technique right here. I select my image and I press F for frame. Okay. So F for frame. I can also, select the image and go and click on this. So it on the generation frame icon, it will automatically create a frame for me right here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I know exactly the kind of color that I want. Okay. So what I'll do is I will select the brush tool, B for brush, shortcut. I'm going to reduce the opacity a little bit. I'm going to reduce the brush size. Let's zoom in. And I'm just going to, really crudely paint over this guy's shirt. Okay. Don't worry about these gaps in the brush. That happens if you move the brush too slowly. We're working on fixing that. But honestly speaking, even if you got tiny gaps like this, it doesn't really make a difference. And the reason is that we are now going to mask this once again. Okay. Except this time, I'm not going to make it 100%. I'm going to make it maybe like 60 or maybe a 70, 75, 80%. Right? Let's see what we get with 75. And I'm going to retain composition 50. Again, I will say Bruce, navy blue shirt. Let's also say back angle shot, just to be sure that he doesn't turn in front. Okay. Now, the difference between these two is that here I've applied an underlying color and I've kept it at 75, not 100. Because 100 means complete destruction of the image that is under the mask. I do not want to completely destroy this image. I've kept it at 75, which means that it still picks up some of what is underneath, and which is why I've added the blue color. So blue color painted on top with 75% means that I will actually get a navy blue color in a very, very deterministic way. All right. So I've not left it completely to chance. I've not left it completely to the prompt. I've added a color underneath and I've said that, hey, I want this color to be represented here. And I don't completely destroy the underlying image, which is why I keep it at 75. But I need to destroy it enough so that it doesn't look like, just, badly painted on, right? Because if I kept it at, let's say, a 1 or a 2 or a 10, it, honestly speaking, just would have looked really bad. Okay. So, cool. You can see the result here and you can see the result. Let's look at the result here as well. Okay, great. So here what we did is we did not apply really any color underneath, right, at all. So as you can see, it gave me a navy blue shirt, but it gave me these stripes I didn't really want. Okay. In this case, it gave me a navy blue shirt exactly as I wanted. Sure, it's not the exact shade of blue as this, but that's on me, right? I just picked up a shade of blue very randomly, right? I wasn't diligent enough. So I can, if I'm very, very precise about the kind of blue I want, I probably should have gone for a blue like this. It's very easy for me to get exactly what I need. Okay, so I'm going to go for this right now. And as you can see, there's another issue here. It's kind of given me shoes and slippers instead of jewelry in this stuff for some reason. I think it's because we had mentioned shoes and stuff in the characters, and sometimes the model gets confused, right? What are you going to do about it? It's not as smart as you or me. So again, what I can always do here is cover this up and say a jewelry showcase in a shop, rings and necklaces, right? And I'm going to go for like a really heavy, I'm going to get rid of retained composition because I don't want these shapes of the sandals or whatever to be retained, right? I'm going to go for a 0 there, and I'm going to go for a really heavy, maybe like a 95, in fact, degree of change. Okay, let's see what we get. So Swaroop asks, will you later cover the details of how the credits will work? It's very simple, Swaroop. One image generation costs you 1 credit. As simple as that. And with everything, your credit balance decreases. You get 500 credits when you create a new account, right? We changed our credit policy. So some of you who are, earlier users, earlier the policy was 100 credits a day. So if you were one of our earlier users, you would have got, a bump up in credits. You would have got about 15,000 credits or so. But, that was for the early access cohort. But any new signups get 500 credits a day. Beyond that, get 500 credits total, not per day. And beyond that, once you exhaust your credits, then you will need to upgrade to the Pro plan, right? By the way, for the creator program specifically, we do have some really good deals and offers, like a limited time free upgrade to the Pro plan and so on. I think Maximus Prime will get to all of you on that in the Discord, right? Amazing, right? So it's given me rings, it's given me necklaces, it's given me jewelry, exactly what I needed. So I'm going to say accept. Notice that although I destroyed the composition significantly, 95%, it's still not lost context of, okay, you know what? It needs to be like an angular shot, right? It still maintained that, which is very, very cool. Okay. I'm going to make one last change here. I mean, of course, I can make the same change here and there and everywhere, but I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay. So we're going to use this cool thing called Magic Eraser. Okay. So I'm just going to reduce my size. Again, it's either 9 to reduce size, 0 to increase your size. And all you have to do is that. And say magic erase. Yeah, this takes a while. We're going to try and make it much faster. And boom, it's gone. Right? So I can add, whatever I want here later. We've got a text tool and so on. We'll get to that. Okay, cool. So we've got this dude here. And again, the basic principles for making any kind of changes remain exactly the same, right? I mask it, I color it, I write a prompt, I select a character, we're done, right? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a few more advanced tricks. We're not going to, change his shirt and all of that once again, because you know how to do that. But what I'm going to do is I don't like his background. I want it blurry. So I'm going to do something cool, which is called segmentation. So let's click that. Let's say segment. Awesome. So now I am actually able to select this entire character, right? Select segments in this entire character. And now I can do whatever I want with these, right? I can create a mask around these automatically, which is very convenient. Okay, it gives me a very precise mask. Let me just control Z. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me control Z that. I can add a color overlay on top of it and then change that. So I don't need to, I can just select the shirt and add a navy blue color over it instead of going and painting it all on my own. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to extract this image, right? Just this mask, I've extracted it. Okay, let's put it back there. Now what I'll do is I'll select, let's go to our layers. Okay, it's useful to now see that, okay, which image am I selecting, right? You will see that in this image, so this is page 1. So we're going to make it so that, the moment you select an image, the corresponding thing sort of opens up, right? But we're on frame 2, and I've got 2 images here, right? Image 1, image 2. You can see, I guess, yeah, this is, yeah. So this was image 1, this was image 2. Okay. Now I'm going to select image 1, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to blur this. Right? We've got a whole set of tools here. We've got blend modes, we've got brightness, contrast, saturation, hue, blur, opacity, grayscale, invert, sepia. Those of you who are familiar with Photoshop would know a lot of these, and it just makes it very easy to do a whole lot of stuff, right? I don't need to just blur it. I can, where did blur go? Yeah, let me do that. I can also change the hue or the saturation. I want the focus on Bruce. So let's say, we'll maybe change the saturation contrast a little bit, reduce brightness a little bit, and then add a little bit of blur. Okay, there. Now, the focus is on Bruce. It looks much, much better. Right? So, to repeat, segment helps me select something and helps me just immediately change whatever aspect of it that I want, right? The segment tool will keep getting better and better. We are going to work on better layers where you can basically click on any image and the layer gets automatically selected. We will also be working on a better segment model, which makes it easier for you to pick out, even minor characteristics and so on. Okay. What I'm going to do next is change bubbles, right? Bubbles are, of course, really, really important. Let me make this bubble a little smaller and point it at him. But this bubble is pointing in the wrong direction. Okay. So what I will do is instead of right curved, I want it left curved. Right. And I can move this around however I want. So now this bubble is left curved. I can also change the stroke width actually. So I can make this 145 or let's say 180. Okay, I think, 100 seems to be the max on this. Let me see. All right, looks like we're at the max here already. It doesn't really go to like 300. Yeah. All right. So we're at max here. We can also change our stroke width. So, give it a stroke of 15. So that makes the bubble more well defined. We can change our font, right? For example, let me select all this. Let me select the font and I can change this to Bangers or Wild Words regular, right? If you want it in all caps. Okay. I can change my font color as well. And you can see that I can even change my bubble type, right? So I can have it like that. I can have it like, a more uneven wobbly bubble. I can have it as a speech, as a thought bubble. I can change my tail to like a thought tail, and so on, right? So there's really a ton of flexibility that you've got with bubbles. For now, I like it as this, and I like it with the left curved tail. Okay. How can we add SFX to panels like 3 lines for tension, phone ring, and all of that? Okay, great question. So as of now, what you can do is add text here. So I'm going to say T for text. and I'm going to say whatever. Let's say ring. Let's say phone is ringing, right? As of now, we've got two fonts which work really great for. You can rotate these as well. Yeah, which work really well for SFX. We've got Luckiest Guy and we've got Bangers, right? What we do need to add though is like a stroke for text. So we'll be adding that as well very, very shortly. So that, the ring stands out, right? Now I do understand that you may want, stylized SFX. Okay, which, for example, you may want them curved. You may want them, say splash, but it's like wriggly because it looks like water. So there's some options we have in the pipeline, right? Where we'll be looking at a generative approach where you can just generate text. Maybe we'll be looking at even like just adding a library where, we just got hundreds or thousands of assets, just drag and drop from there, right? So we're thinking about SFX. As of now, we've got these two options, just add text. But we'll have several more in the future, right? Does that answer your question, Witty Luna? And I think two other folks probably have that same question. Okay, perfect. All right, should we move on, folks? All right, I think we can. Okay, so we'll move on. We know how to correct this. In this case, she's facing front. Obviously this is a little mangled. So let's say I want her swatting away his hand. I can literally magic erase. Oops, please select a frame. Yeah, I can literally magic erase this entire piece because it's like really bad. And I can say erase. Yeah, we should really improve the speed of this. Okay, and say I want her like whacking away his hand, right? So I want his hand on top and on her hand coming and whacking it away. So guys, what do? I select my frame, select my brush. I use the eyedropper tool, select this. Okay, I'm gonna draw like a really bad hand here. I'm not even going to attempt to draw fingers, to be very honest. Let's see how that goes. Let's see. I'm going to mask his entire hand here. I'm going to give it some context. Okay. Maybe like a retained composition of 10 at max. I'm going to say a man's hand, palm. Okay. I will say back of a man's hand. Palm outstretched, back of hand. And I'm going to put this at like fairly high, like 95. Let's give that a shot. Okay. I can also generate 4 images if I don't want just one, but that's going to cost me 4 credits, right? So if I want variations, I can always generate more credits. More images than just one. Okay. So since the hands are intersecting, I haven't really done like a multi in Paint where I do just both of them at the same time. I'd rather do one, perfect that, and then draw her palm over here and then do that as well. All right, while that's generating, let's see if we can do something cool over here. I'm going to search for, let's say, open palm. I'm going to go to images. Left hand. The cool thing about this is that it really doesn't matter. We're going to download this. Okay. Actually, we don't need to download it. I think I can do just copy image and I can just go paste it here. It's that simple. Perfect. Let's crop that. Okay, let's see if we got an image here. We get something. Oh, okay. I think this looks like it might have, the generation might have failed. That happens sometimes. Yeah, let's try that again. If it fails, if the generation fails, your credits will be refunded for that generation. If they aren't, you should immediately raise like a bug report with us saying that, okay, this is what happened, and our engineering team will take care of it. Right. So while they're generating, yeah, it's on that note, you can report a bug with us at any time. Describe your issue. Tell us whether it's like with a character, with your account, or whatever it is. Please attach a screenshot so that we get to know. We can understand. Our engineers can understand what's happened, and yeah, somebody will respond back to you and solve your issue real quick. Okay. Meanwhile, we click on frame, and what I'm going to do here is a background removal. So instead of doing a segmentation and extracting it, here there's a very clean difference between my foreground and background, right? So I'm just going to use background removal, and in this case, I've got just the hand image here. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. Is that slightly odd? Yeah, it is. His thumb should have been on the other side, right? So, which is why I was trying to generate 4 images. You usually get one of them great. The other alternative is either drawing something really good, or like you can draw rough fingers and stuff, and then it picks it up. You can also try prompting left hand, right hand, but usually in 4 images, like one of them comes out great, right? It's usually not a problem. Okay. Now let's do something cool here. All right. So most of the times with single characters, I do get great hands after good in paint. But yeah, you see that I'm gonna actually no. That seemed fine. I'm gonna turn this, and we're gonna add it here to make it look like, well, this is a hand. Make it slightly smaller. Even smaller. Oh, too small. That seems about right. Okay. And what we'll do now is, again, mask this. So we'll select this frame, mask it, do like a 50%. Yeah. I really want to retain the composition well on this. I'm going to go for like a good like 60, 70%. See, let's try 70. Right. And I just want to add the style here. So I'm going to go for like a 70% change. And I'm going to say a woman's palm outstretched. Yeah. Okay, let's see what we got. Oops. Oh, we got this here. Oh, awesome. It's actually pretty good, right? So I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to say, okay, I think I accidentally generated another one. I mean, look, I could have just taken this color and done a color overlay as well, right? So if you and what I mean by that is that you knew how the segmentation works, right? You could do that. You could add the color on top of it, and it would have given you the exact same shade to match this on the palm of her hand as well, right? You can still do that if you'd like. And then we can add like a special effect here that says whack, right? So we're not seeing this because there's some image that's still generating here, I guess. Yeah. Probably do that here. So it says whack, and we're going to do it in this font. Oops. We'll go ahead and put that there. Okay. Let me see what's still generating. Not sure. All right. If something does come up, we'll find it here, right? But for now, maybe I can just move this frame out. Just take this image out of here and put that here. Right click, reorder, send backwards, and boom, you got it, right? Oh, okay. Oh, it was generating something. All right, cool. Just gonna accept that. Okay, I think we'll have to add that text again. All right, and as usual, oops. Yeah, if the ordering or selection gets weird once in a while, you can just drag it out, drag it back in again. Don't worry about it. So we'll position this here. There you go. Okay, cool. We can move on, right? So we've covered almost all of the major features here, okay? You already know how to correct the dress, right? This frame also looks good. Sophia, I didn't mean it like that. Just come with me, please. I can correct his fingers here, simple in paint. Her hand is already hidden, not a problem. She's carrying a purse in this. You know how to get rid of it. Magic in paint. You can magic in paint all the way up to here, and then just in paint, and magic erase all the way up to here, and then just in paint that last bit of hand there, right? Let's look at what happened here. Okay, seems like we have an extra frame here. Okay, frame 8. All right, in cases like this, we can always go back to our screenplay and see what frame 8 was. Frame 7, frame 8, Bruce leads Sophia. Frame 9. Oh, in fact, it's actually frame 9. Okay. Okay. We should regenerate this. So in case anything fails like this, you know that it's failed, so your credits were not deducted. You can just go there and you can regenerate it right from here, right? Otherwise, you would have to go to the editor and do all of it again, all the way from the beginning, okay? Another cool thing is that even after you've made all these changes in the editor, you can still go and add just like a frame in the middle and it will still just pick it up. It will automatically readjust your entire panel. So if I go here and add, say, let's see, close up of a diamond ring in a close-up of a diamond ring in a jewelry showcase in a shop. I just add that here. Yeah. So you see, it didn't add any characters in this at all. You don't need a character, right? And it's given a close-up of a diamond ring, jewelry showcase, elegant, large, sparkling diamond set in the gold band. And it has automatically adjusted your comic to accommodate this new frame, right? The SVX didn't move though, because they are not tied to the frame, they're tied to the page. Right, so you can, not quite what we want. So we can try another generation. We want it in a jewelry showcase. This is more like it's a jewelry store entrance in the shopping mall. So we can just maybe get rid of that. And we can say inside a glass showcase. All right, we'll move on while that generates, right? So if you go back to the editor, you'll be able to see that everything has automatically been adjusted to accommodate for it. And we've got our scene here that had been missed, where he leads her to the cafe. Sure, she's turning in the wrong direction, but you know how to correct that. Just mask her, paint her a little bit, cover her face with like golden so that it looks like she's in the opposite direction, and easy peasy. Okay, I think we've covered most of the tools now. We've covered the brush, the erasers, just erases brush stroke, so that's self-explanatory. We've covered the mask, we've covered magic eraser, we've covered remove background. Let's look at this really cool thing called upscale. Okay, so I'm going to create a copy of this image. So I've selected the frame, but I'm going to click again. So I select the image, right? Frame, image, Control C, Control V. So it's created the same. Let's see, frame, image, Control C, Control V, and now it's created a copy of that image within the frame. I brought it out, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it here, and I'm going to say upscale. So I've got two upscale. One is the simple upscaler and one is the creative upscaler. So creative upscaler ends up adding a lot more detail, right? It's not very much different in anime style, but it's very, very different in, say, an Euler or more 3D-ish kind of style, right? So we're going to do both here. All right, so it's going to add one upscale here. And let's take that same image here and we'll do another upscale, which is your creative upscale. So this upscales the image by 2x by default. So you just get your images a lot more crisper, more clarity, and so on. All right, and after that, we'll move on to the last big feature that we've got, which is storyboard to comic, which shows you how you can actually either draw your own storyboards or upload or compose your own storyboards to create your scene. Okay, so yeah. Awesome. Great. So this was our creative upscale. This was our non-creative upscale. As you can see in Anime Forge, there is really not a lot of difference here in both of these. There's a little bit like, for example, the creative upscale got rid of some of, oh, it didn't. Okay, it was just hidden. Like not a lot of difference in Anime Forge, but if you do it in like a more 3D style, this definitely adds like a ton of detail to your image. Okay, but you can definitely see that between these two images, if you zoom into this versus this, like this is definitely much higher resolution. And of course, we know how to fix the face with a simple Inpaint. This is much higher resolution, and it's a lot crisper as well. All right, so let's do a few things now where we add storyboards. So I'm going to create a new frame. I'm going to press F. Okay, and let's do it like, let's say here. All right, I'm going to use the brush tool, B for brush. Black works best. And I'm actually going to draw like I'm going to draw a really bad storyboard. Okay, first of all, I'm doing this with the mouse. And secondly, yeah, well, I'm not the best artist, I'll admit. All right, so say I need, might as well show you the eraser feature here. So if I've done this, I can erase stuff like that. Okay, and go back to brush. And see, in this case, I'm going to give you a man in like a hat, just so that we have something different, like whatever, a cowboy hat. I don't even need to draw a lot of details over here. This is actually good enough, right? I can press shift and draw a straight line. So that's cool. I can do that. So it'll do, oh, didn't need that. Yeah. And then we can have like, oops. Let's say I want a painting in the background, because he's in like an art gallery or whatever. Right. Okay. Perfect. Just going to say whatever, doesn't matter. Now I'm going to switch this to storyboard to comic, and I'm going to say Bruce wearing a cowboy hat, standing in an art gallery, abstract paintings on the wall in background. Okay, again, we have something called influence here, which it's kind of similar to how we had the strength in Inpaint. It determines how much of an influence this storyboard needs to have on your generated image. Now, I've drawn a pretty bad storyboard. Okay, so if you use a professionally made storyboard, you would want this much higher, maybe 50, 60, don't know about that. But this is a bad storyboard, so 35, 40 works best. Okay, so I'm going to say generate here, and then we'll take a look at how this turns out. And the amazing thing about this is that now I have even more control over my composition. Okay, earlier my composition was left to chance. Like my composition was done by just a prompt, but now I have even more control over my composition. So that's really cool. Look at that. Sorry. Okay, so this is exactly the kind of storyboard that we wanted. It's given me paintings in the background. It's actually done a pretty good job. Sure, it's put him in all of the paintings, but again, we know how to correct that, right? So this painting is a little off. That's fine. I'll just generate another image. I can take a lower influence, maybe even a higher influence. I don't know what, like 45, 50% will do. Okay, while that's generating, what we're going to do is we're going to use like a reference image for, oh, that's done. There you go. Right. So this time it's followed, because I increased it to 51%. You can see that it's followed the contours of what I've drawn much more closely. Right. So you can see that this entire vertical thing, it's split into two paintings, but like whatever, that's fine. And it's giving me something, fairly cool here. So you can see that this one was when my composition was a little, looser. My influence was a little looser. It was like 40%. This is when I've told it to, like strictly follow, or, follow the lines more strictly, because this is 51. The early one was 40. So that's how you get really good control over your composition. Now, I'm going to show you something even more amazing, which is you can literally use famous movie scenes and use them for your composition, right? Like literally. So let's try something cool, right? So I'm going to say Tom Cruise riding a motorcycle on highway. I just want an image of that. Okay, that's actually awesome. I don't mind that. That's an iconic image. Okay, copy image, and let's go. Let's paste it here. And I also want, like, let's say Fast and Furious car flipping over. Okay, I don't really need a Fast and Furious car. Let's try like a movie screenshot. Oh yeah, that's actually from The Matrix. That is actually pretty cool. Let's see if they've got something else like this. That's the car that I want. Okay, that's just wild. But cool. I think I'm gonna go for just that thing that was there in The Matrix, right? Okay. Let's paste that. And now what we'll do is, actually no, I have a better idea. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get a better Tom Cruise image, where he's riding like, yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me see if I can get like a full body. Yeah, that's awesome. Perfect. All right, you guys are with me? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to recreate, I'm going to just photo batch this together, right? So I'm going to remove the background from here, from this one, awesome. We're going to drag it. We're going to put it into this. Okay. That's awesome. And I'm going to select this entire thing, press F so that, frame both of them. Sorry. All right. I'm going to frame this. So you should have framed it earlier and then drag this in. Okay, now this is a part of the frame. All right, now this is a really complex scene. Okay, what do we do? Here's what we do. So I'm going to use this mode. I can either use storyboard to comic or I can use edge to comic, right? So I've composed this scene, but in this case, I'm going to use something called edge to comic. And I'm also going to use something called image to image here. Okay, so let's look at both these modes. So edge to comic means that it's going to capture the contours of this more precisely. It works wonderfully when you're trying to use photographs. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to make this a little higher, 80%. Okay, so a man riding a motorcycle on a highway with car. Man standing on the roof of the car, and I'm going to say a car flipping over in a background. Okay, and I'm just going to say generate. Now I may not get all of this in the first shot. All right, keep that in mind. So a lot of times for really complex scenes, don't worry to just build out part of the image one at a time, right? So it would have worked even if I first generated like an anime, whatever, Tom Cruise riding a bike, then done an anime version style transfer of this, and then moved him into the scene. That would have worked just as well. But look at that. Now that's crazy, right? So I've got a car flipping in the background. I've got my dude on the bike here. I've got this guy. The car seems to be moving in the wrong direction, I think. Yeah, but I can make this the front of the car easily, man. That's not a problem. Right, I can just remove this part and change this guy and so on, right? So I've composed like an epic action scene, which would have been pretty much impossible by just prompting, right? Like, go try that on Midjourney. This is not going to work there. This level of compositional control. Now I'm going to do something even cooler because I want to try and maintain the color and the vibe and all of that, right? So we've done image to image. Now what image to image does is instead of, like in Paint, vary only a part of the image, what it does is it sort of, makes a change in the entire image. What the change percentage does here is exactly the same. 100% means it's just going to completely change everything. Doesn't matter, right? But I'm going to use like a 60%, and I will use a 50% retain composition, right? Oh man. Okay, 50, yeah. And like 70 here. And I'm going to use the exact same prompt that I used here. Let's see how that goes. Now again, this didn't really pick up, it picked up the contours, but it didn't really care about the color of the underlying image. Okay. Whereas this does. It's going to, because I'm literally, just like we had in Inpaint, it picked up the underlying color. This is going to pick up the underlying color as well. So this you can see has a way more greenish tint than this does. Right? Let's see what it looks like at like 50% for 50% retain and 50% or 57%. Damn. So the trade-off is that this edge to comic picked up the edges very finely because that's what it is meant to do. Versus, this one didn't do as great a job of that as edge to comic. So that's the trade-off. Now you can make these creative decisions based on what it is that you want to do. Right. So as you can see, because of both of this, now we've got two very different scenes. Right. Now, if this is the vibe I want to go for, I can just magic erase this. I can place that car over here in Paint It. And I know how to make this change. I just need to draw this dude's legs. And then suddenly he's standing on top of the car. Right? So this is true compositional superpower. And this is what makes Dashtoon Studio really stand apart. So to summarize, you've got a first iteration, which just gets you through maybe 80%, 70 to 80% of your work. Then you've got all the tools in the world to really go and precisely make the kind of edits or composition that you want. And you put that all together, and that is what makes Dashtoon Studio by far the most powerful comic creation platform. In fact, I would go so far as to say the most powerful AI-powered image editing platform on the internet right now, in the world right now. Okay. I will take a last few minutes to just explain publish really quick. So you just go click on publish. We've filled up like a Dashtoon name and like a genre and stuff for you, and thumbnails. You can go and edit this if you like. We've put a short summary there on our own. We've put together a preview for you right here. You can go through that. In case you've got several pages on screen, you can move, you can change the order of your pages however you want. Don't worry about it. And finally, once you've done that, you just need to hit publish. And it says update, I think because I changed the order of the pages, but it says publish. And then that's going to show you like how much of it has published. All right, there you go. And if you scan this QR code right now, you will be directed to the Dashtoon app where you can read this comic instantly. You can share it from there with anybody you want. You can share it from here too. Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, all of those. Or you can just click on View Dashtoon and it's going to open the entire thing, here for you that you can read. You can share this link directly with your friends. And you can share it in Discord as well with the wonderful community. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. So I'm actually going to pause there. I know I've been going on again for a long time, but I would again like to open it up to the wonderful crowd here for any questions that you might have. You've seen a lot. I know it's a lot to take in, but I'd be happy to answer questions for the next few minutes. Where can you find the work of folks who have created on Dashtoon already? You can check out our Discord channel, or you can just download the app, and everything that's published right now goes to the shorts section. So the main Dashtoon app will have series produced in-house by our studio. I would really recommend going and looking at it there. A few of the creators who published several episodes will have all of the episodes, viewable there as well. And if you publish just one episode, there should be like a shorts section. You will go find it there. Okay, Lynn has a question. So when we publish more than one episode, it gets moved out of shorts. I think that's right. Like there's a review process. So if you're publishing consistently, you publish several episodes, that gives a user a good reading experience. Yeah, we move it out into the episodic section. That's right. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, does anybody else have any further questions? I do hope everybody learned something today, right? There was a lot, but I hope it helped. Okay, so maybe give me a thumbs up or something if you found this helpful. Hey, thank you so much, everyone. And all right, a lot of people are saying stuff. Okay, thanks, Lynn. Thank you, Izanti. Thanks, Parisian Moon, Swaroop, Robert, Lynn. Thank you so much. And this is going to be available on our YouTube channel, and we're going to be putting up a lot of other tutorial videos on the YouTube channel as well. Right? I think this is like just a few days away. I mean, we're going to be putting very, very detailed tutorials that pretty much cover everything that I covered. And I'll be doing a lot more of these, right? I'm going to be doing a lot more of these masterclasses. We'll be taking that and, breaking it into short conceptual tutorials. So we'll have just one tutorial dedicated to screenplay, one tutorial dedicated to storyboarding, and so on. So if you're stuck on like one particular concept, you can just go there and do that, right? Paris Moon says screenplay is like an overpowered MC. Oh wow, great! I'm so glad you feel that way. That was the intention, right? It's definitely overpowered. Like we've been having so much fun playing with it in house. You guys can't even imagine, right? And like a lot of effort has gone into this from the engineering team at Dashtoon Studio. So I'm going to pass this on to them as well. Some of them are here. And I'm really glad you guys like that. Yeah. I know you found new tools to use after all the YouTube tutorials. Yeah, and the current YouTube tutorials, they kind of cover, except for the screenplay, they kind of cover all the editing concepts. But I mean, we weren't too happy with that user interface, to be very honest. I think it was confusing. Our entire team thought it was confusing, and we always knew that we could do a much better job. And I think so. We've got Rookie here actually. Yeah, Rookie is the design lead for all of this. So all the tools and where they place and how they work. Yeah, you can give a thumbs up to him for that. Welcome, Robert. Welcome, Cloma. Thanks, Alpliskin. Oh, thanks. I'm glad. So, I'm just curious, how many of you folks have been with Studio for, let's say, the last couple of weeks? So, recentish. So, you've seen just this. Versus how many of you have really seen the old interface and then now are making the transition to this one? Oh, all right. I hope it's changed for the better, though, Lynn. We really feel it's changed for the better. Um, yeah, I'm glad, Sildor, that it looks easier to use. We'd be very worried if it wasn't. All right, and okay, Parisian Moon still has something to say. So, yeah. Meanwhile, folks, if there are any further closing questions, feel free to shoot. We're, of course, active in the Discord. You can ask us anytime. I would highly recommend asking questions regarding doubts and stuff, or any support stuff in the support channel, just so that, it's already there, and anybody who needs further support, you already asked that question, so they can just go and search, right? And of course, if you're asking general chit chat, that's fine as well, but help your fellow creators out. And we'll be having a lot more events, so you can keep a track of all that's happening in the Discord, keep a track of announcements. And to wrap up, Maximus Prime, do you have any closing remarks on anything about like the creator program, future events, what our plans are for the community? We can't hear you in case you're saying something. Or I can't hear you. I don't know if the rest of you can. All right, that's not really a problem. Keep checking the Discord, guys. Keep checking your email. We will be in touch there. And thank you so much for joining us. And I think we can call it a night where we are. For some of you, you may be starting your day. So have a good one. Swarib, you can write to creator at dashtoon.com. That's the email. Is it creator or creators, Maximus? Creator at dashtoon.com. Yeah, it's creator. That's right. All right. Thank you and good night, everybody. Or good day. But thank you for joining. Bye.